Call the meeting to order. I would like to have Ahmad.
I can't tell you.
Ahmad.
Your mic's not on.
Pledge of allegiance.
There you go.
Call to order. I'd like to start with the flag salute, and we'd like to ask our student representative to please lead us in our flag salute.
Please stand, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We would like to report the action taken in our closed session. First of all, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote on the approval of the agenda. Do that first.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Clerk Smolin?
Aye.
President LaBelle?
Aye. The board president will report any action taken in the closed session. Closed session information. The confidential student matter 3.1 and 3.2, they were both voted on with a 4-0 vote, moved by Trustee Blau, seconded by Trustee Jabran. And in 3.3, public employment matters, no action. 3.4, public employment action, no action. 3.5, conference with labor negotiations, no action. 3.6, conference with labor negotiations, no action. Conference with real property negotiators, no action. And a conference with legal counsel, no action. Now go to the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
One correction before we approve the agenda. We'd like to pull item 5.1 under action in the business and facilities section. It'll be back in March.
Okay.
Is the
So
consent side or
moved
the
and
action?
seconded.
The action side, Trustee Blau.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Clerk Smolin?
Aye.
President LaBelle?
Aye. You'll notice that one of our board members, Dan White, is not in attendance tonight. Approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Motion?
So moved.
So moved by.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Clerk Smolin?
Aye.
President LaBelle?
Aye. Next on the agenda is communications. This is for visitors, and employee organizations may address items that are not on the agenda. We just ask that everyone is respectful and limited to 4 minutes. Do we have any cards?
We do. We have 2 blue cards and a supporting yellow card for the second blue card.
Okay.
Let me do that.
Okay, the first one is Jake Finch.
Star made me do this. I just wanted to remind everybody that on Saturday, March 2nd, from 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock, Read Across America will happen at the library again. We didn't have it on the agenda, so I wanted to make sure we got the announcement out. So come and celebrate books. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the second blue card is from Nachi Moth Kumar.
Good evening all. My name is Nachi Muthukumar, parent of a middle schooler who goes to Simi Valley School District. I'm here to recommend or agree with the recommendation made for the social studies books for the TCI. The reason is we reviewed the books, a lot of parents here, both McGraw-Hill and TCI, and McGraw-Hill has a lot of inaccuracies in it. And these inaccuracies are not just easy to fix. These are narrative in nature, and we had worked with the publishers to fix, but it's, like I said, it's narrative in nature. It's not easy fix. That's why we recommend that the school district also goes with TCI for teaching social studies in 6th, 7th grades. It's also the other reason why we recommend this, as per the law, the California education law and the code, any governing body cannot, teach any material that adversely impacts anybody from religion, caste, et al. And McGraw-Hill clearly doesn't follow that standard. So for that reason also we recommend TCI to be the book for all the 6th graders and 7th graders in our district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The yellow.
The yellow card to support.
Okay, and there was a yellow card to support that. Thank you very much. We appreciate the input of our community in everything we do, so thank you. Next thing, we have some presentations. Dr. Salgado.
Good evening, President LaBelle, Clerk Smolin, Trustee Gibran, Trustee Blau. We've invited Sinaloa Middle School here to talk to you tonight about some of the programs that they're championing their school. They've done some really wonderful things that have to do with technology, integrating technology into the classroom. And we wanted them to share that. And we're going to ask the principal, Brad Torty, to come on up. He has a little presentation, and he also brought some of his students there to just round out the presentation for you. So, Brad?
Mr. Torty is a new father also.
Yes, thank you. It's been exciting and exhausting.
You look so well rested.
Inner monologue. Very good. President LaBelle, Clerk of the Board Smolin, Trustees Blau and Gibran, Dr. Poplinski, esteemed cabinet. Thank you for inviting Sinaloa to join you tonight. Great things are happening at Sinaloa every day. And tonight, we'd like to start our quick presentation with you in very much the same way we start so many of the days at Sinaloa, with a little jazz. I'd like to present Sinaloa's Zero-Period Jazz Band, their director, Mr. Isaac Arias, playing caracas and featuring Brody McConnell and Julian Schaff on alto sax, Alex Holland on trumpet, and Sean Rose on trombone. Guys. Thank you so much, Sabres. Sinaloa's jazz band, which is the only middle school jazz band around, are a testament to the long-standing tradition of excellence and growth at Sinaloa. Students and staff are dedicated to pushing ever forward to exciting new opportunities to engage in learning and grow. This year, much of that focus has been on two areas in particular, one being technology integration and the other social-emotional learning. I'd like to start by addressing what's going on with technology. At Sinaloa, as with much of the district, Chromebooks are kind of a regular feature in classrooms, so we believe that we have achieved technology integration. The question for us now, or the questions for us are, why are we doing what we're doing, and how is it impacting learning? So helpful in this discussion is the SAMR model that we've been discussing this year, which has been popularized by Dr. Ruben Puentedura. It helps us decide if what we're doing is just a replacement for analog activities, things that we would have been able to do before technology arrived, and those things that we really could not do without the assistance of technology. So we've invested some professional development time into SAMR. We've created tools to study and evaluate the effectiveness of technology in use, and have really worked to try to build a culture of mindfulness where even if a teacher is doing something, if a colleague is doing something that you could conceivably do without the use of technology, we're thoughtful about how it's being applied to maximize the time of the students, make sure that the teacher's time is also used efficiently, and provide the opportunity for them to be connecting in the other important ways that we do. So you see that this moves from substitution, as we sort of alluded to, this concept then of redefinition, which is, again, doing what is not possible without technology. And as I said, we've invested, we're leveraging our Chrome resources, our Google infrastructure, and some critical reading that our assistant principal has been leading us in around learning first, technology second. Sort of focusing in on learning objectives first and how does technology subserve them. So what does that look like at Sinaloa? Certainly besides the mindful practice of leveraging technology for otherwise analog tasks, like for example, writing on a whiteboard, smartboard, whiteboard, it's sort of an analog unless you're thoughtful about it, or writing a paper on a Chromebook, which is not so different than writing on a regular computer or whatever else is, to move to other kinds of activities that we could use with technology. For example, instead of giving a standard presentation in front of the class or whatever the case is, students increasingly are being given the opportunity to complete a Flipgrid-esque style presentation. This gives them the ability to revise and edit and refine their work multiple times before presenting it to their classmates and to their teachers. Also, it allows them to share that information extemporaneously so that they're not only presenting it once, but the information is available going forward. One very exciting development I'd like to share is that one of our teachers has decided to pilot some VR goggles. So we are working with them to come up with a few of these. The presentation that I received was basically, why should we just read about Machu Picchu if I could, through this technology, essentially transport my students there? There's a lot of research into the power of experiential learning, and that is an example of, really bringing students into the curriculum around social studies. Another application of that would be, for example, in the science curriculum, where instead of reading about or even watching a video on the circulatory system, I actually previewed a piece of software on the Oculus Go, which allowed me to become a red blood cell and travel the circulatory system, which, because of the interactivity features, really gives students the opportunity to engage and really fundamentally understand what's going on. So we're excited to see what that outcome looks like in terms of student mastery of content. Again, it's a pilot experience, but it's certainly a testament to what Sinaloa teachers are doing to push forward in technology. To pitch also on another huge development is the issue of the social-emotional learning findings. Like all the schools in the district, we have had the pleasure to work with Panorama Education to identify areas that students are essentially reporting they can grow in with social-emotional learning. Our survey data indicated that 82% of our students felt strongly that they are putting forth high-quality classroom effort, but the same students reported a relatively low rate of grit, which is that ability to overcome obstacles, face challenges, and achieve your goals in spite of them. So what we have taken to doing is bringing in a few strategies to very specifically target the issues of grit, learning strategies, determination, and the rest, and embed them site-wide in what we're doing. The first is the Rosebud Thorn strategy. It's a conversation that we're trying to have with students around things that we're looking forward to, things that we're proud of, things that we might have anxiety about. The goal being to transform something that causes anxiety into something that we can perhaps look back on with pride. So if a rose is something that's positive that happened in the last week, a bud is something that you're looking forward to, we'll ask students, what's a thorn? Something that's kind of sticking in your side, something that's bothering you. The goal being, how do we turn thorns into roses? These conversations have been very productive, and it gives students a pretty accessible tool to discuss an otherwise pretty abstract concept. We also have implemented a grit gallery at our site where teachers can celebrate the gritty work that students are doing in their classes and even outside of their classes. Teachers submit these, they get put on our a digital bulletin board we have in the main office, and we're thrilled about it in the office too, because we get to call their parents and tell them what a great job their child is doing. We get to talk to them about those traits of perseverance, grit, and determination, and celebrate and validate that. And we found that the feedback from families has been astounding. It's a treat for our administrators to make those calls, and we've also really seen the teachers reaching out and enjoying that process as well. The final kind of big push that we have in terms of strategies that we're employing site-wide is a way to talk about difficulties that we experience, students experience, in a way that validates the struggle that students have. We're not trying to run from difficulty, we're accepting it as part of the process. We're normalizing it, letting students know that everybody experiences struggle in their lives, and it's how we respond to it that'll define how our path to success. And so, again, in cooperation with Panorama Education, this checklist exists, and we've been rolling it out to teachers to ensure that they have the tools they need to engage with students when those opportunities arise. So taken together, these efforts, coupled with the instructional work surrounding technology, I feel represent several ways that Sinaloa is continuing to learn to lead. Not only are we working on giving students the opportunities to be leaders in their own lives, in their community, and certainly the community at large, but the faculty really take that to heart, and I feel this year has been a year of growth and innovation, as you've seen in technology and in the school connectedness efforts. We continue to forge ahead in service to our students and families, and we're proud to share the work we do for Simi Valley. So thank you for allowing me to speak with you this evening, and thank you for all your support for our schools.
Outstanding presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Torrey. I love that you're keeping Bow Tie Tuesday going for us.
I don't have a choice at this point.
Yeah, and Mr. Arias, your group sounds amazing. I know we've only had you at Sinaloa for a few years, but just love to see how your groups have grown. And I know that you also love teaching vocal music, which scared you quite a bit at the beginning, but we really appreciate your efforts with our students.
And if I heard that correctly, it's a zero-period class, so they're up bright and early before the rest of the students. Outstanding.
I think it's 'cause Mr. Arias is pretty popular. You don't get a prep, do you?
I do have.
You have, because of the zero period.
Again, thank you very much. Now we have any employee organization comments? Amanda? I saw Amanda. No? Jim's not here? Okay. CBOC report? Nothing. Student board report. This Humna Ahmad is from Royal High School. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, President LaBelle, Clerk of the Board Smolin, Trustees Blau and Gibran, and Superintendent Dr. Popinski. On behalf of Royal High School, I report the beginning of first semester has been filled with a lot of exciting events. On the 26th, we enjoyed our annual winter formal at the Moore Park Country Club. Tickets were sold out and Highlanders were dancing all night. Seniors are planning Senior Hug Day along with more class activities for the rest of the year. Juniors are planning prom and held a fundraiser at Buffalo Wild Wings on the night of winter formal. Sophomores are planning more fundraising events and class activities, and freshmen are continuing their flocking fundraiser. In athletics, girls varsity basketball beat Simi, boys varsity basketball beat Simi, girls soccer beat Simi, and wrestling won CIF, and much more within our athletics. We are looking forward to much more successes within all our athletic teams. In activities, we held our open house on January 15th, where students who are committed to school signed publicly, and incoming Highlanders were able to see all the opportunities Royal has to offer. We are looking forward to the rest of the year. Madison Thunberg of Simi Valley reports that spirits are very high on campus this past week. The school had another legendary Spirit Week for the winter sports. Each representative from Borderline visited the campus and taught students how to line dance. At the same time, leadership students were walking around campus collecting donations for the Borderline families. Simi Valley High raised over $300. The campus was decked out, and the student body and staff were excited for the big basketball game on Thursday. Coming off our epic win, leadership hosted an amazing 40s-themed rally, complete with winter sports, cheer, dance team, winter formal court, and live performances from jazz bands and choirs. The following day, students attended an old Hollywood glamour dance, and they had a blast. Coming up, Simi Valley High School takes on Junior High Jam, People's Choice Awards, and many other fun activities. Lily Gray of Monte Vista reports that our second semester is running smoothly. We have a new life-size chessboard made by one of our students. Our leadership students report that prom planning is going very well, and we are very excited. Our piano lessons have moved to Friday and are open to all grade levels. Our Interact Club will be giving a Valentine to every student on the week of Valentine's Day in order to include more of our students into the club. Purush Sundaram of Santa Susana High School reports our students are finally getting into the full swing of second semester. Our highly anticipated fall ball dance, which kept its name despite being postponed well into winter, was a great success. Though some stellar marketing efforts, we were able to nearly sell out our entire venue. In the recent weeks, we have been hard at work organizing several events. Our next school dance, Spring Fling, is currently being put together by our leadership team, and we hope to have great attendance. Additionally, we are beginning auditions for our annual talent show, and we are confident we will see many promising acts. Preparations for our STEAM exposition, which will be open to the entire community, are currently underway. The booths that have signed up so far are very exciting, and we look forward to showing off our innovative creations to judges and viewers alike. We are also looking forward to a production of the play, The Penny's Dreadfuls, from our children's theater class this month. Second semester can be a stressful time for many students, but we all hope that through organizing these events, we can create a positive school environment and help alleviate that. Destiny Botner of Apollo High School reports that January has been a busy month for Apollo. Our Interact Club, along with our leadership students, have begun to collect items in preparation for a field trip to pack care packages for the troops. Last week, leadership also hosted our first Fun Friday of the quarter filled with activities that connect students and staff outside of the classroom. The students who were new to Apollo this quarter had the opportunity to meet with our administration in their orientation class. During this time, everyone gets to know each other as well as have some individual time to review their credit evaluations and plan their path toward graduation. Our English learners and leadership students had the opportunity to attend a field trip to the Reagan Library to participate in the Youth Town Hall. Participating in this experience gave students the opportunity to ask important questions in school safety and mental health services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very well done. Our superintendent.
Thank you, President LaBelle. Humna, thanks for being here. We always appreciate having students here. Apologize for my cold. I can't seem to shake it, but I want to welcome everybody to the meeting tonight, and also want to thank our parents that are here in support of our textbook adoption. We're happy to have had you be a part of the process, and glad you're in support of the book we've chose. So, I also want to to continue to impress upon everyone that the school year is going by so fast, and the amount of time we have with our students is passing quickly. And I'm just so impressed with what I'm seeing out in our schools. I've been to a lot of schools and events since we met last. I had forgotten how cold soccer games are, so secondary administrators, kudos to you for being out there, because those were not fun times. My hands were freezing, but congratulations to all of our CIF qualified teams, particularly Royal High School's CIF Wrestling Championship that they took home last week. And I know that we have a lot of teams playing in playoffs this week. I know Thursday, Simi High Soccer and Simi High Girls Basketball are playing, and I know Royal has a number of sports out this week as well. So good luck to all of you. I also want to congratulate Bev and Abby, the choir director at Santa Susana High School. Her Abbey Road Jazz Choir just made it to the semifinals of the ICHSA Varsity A Cappella Competition. This started off as a large group of choirs from across the country, and they've continued to win. And now they're in the semifinals in Salem, Oregon this March. So good luck to them as they compete in their type of sport at Santa Susana High School. I also want to acknowledge Madera Elementary for their fantastic Safety Week assembly that they organized. Their principal and their staff put together an amazing week of safety activities and a great assembly where they welcomed back their beloved crossing guard, Bob Bellinger, who we are so glad is recovering from his accident a couple of months ago. I would also like to thank the City of Simi Valley for the improved signage out in front of Madera Elementary, and would like to remind all of our community members to please slow down when driving around our schools and stay alert and stay off your devices when near schools, and always. Congratulations to all of our Lou Roth Award recipients this year. I was in Kansas City, so was unable to attend the dinner, but I want to congratulate Keith Derrick, Jennifer Chrisman, Rebecca Wagner, David Lopez, Ryan Borman, Paula Ergmeyer, Kathy Roth, and Glenn Becerra on their well-deserved awards. I also want to thank all of our counselors who are maybe listening at home. Some are here this evening. We'll be presenting later. This is the week of the counselor, if you did not know. And they're tasked with pretty extraordinary jobs with a lot of students at our secondary schools, and we appreciate the work you do with all of them every day. I also want to thank the Simi Valley Education Foundation for everything they do in support of Simi Valley schools, and encourage you to look into attending their gala. Trustee Smolin is a member of that committee. If you need information about how to get a ticket, she can help you after the meeting. I also want to just take a moment for everybody to keep Adam Wallstatter and his family in your thoughts. I've just received word that his health is majorly declining. So he is a good friend of mine. We started teaching the same year at Moore Park High School, and just want to ask all of you to keep him and his family in your thoughts. And I also would just like to end by thanking all of our employees and volunteers for their continued hard work in our district and making it a great place to attend school. And I look forward to being out at more events as my cold goes away. Thank you.
And now we'll have our board presentations. We'll go with Dawn first, and then Scott, and then Kareem.
Okay, give me just a second. I have my notes here. So today was the 100th day of school, and if you're involved in any elementary schools here in Simi, you probably knew that pretty well. I got to spend part of my day at White Oak Elementary, and their theme was to have everybody dressed like they were 100 years old. So it was very clever. I will say that a lot of the staff did it really well, and a lot of the students made me feel really old. So that was a great fun day, and I got to see their skills on counting by tens and skip counting and all the things that they were doing there. So it was great fun. I also visited Vista and got to go around and get their school tour. On our Tuesdays, as most of us know, their school tours are open to go see any campuses, and I haven't been to a kindergarten orientation in quite some time. So I thought I would go walk on through, and plus my kids didn't go there, so it was learning a little bit new from a different point of view. I attended the Lou Roth Awards night with my other trustees that are in attendance this evening. It's a really wonderful time to put a little spotlight on some of the wonderful individuals, whether they are volunteers, custodians, classified, credentialed employees. It's really a great night to see some of the things they do, and then the speeches that they give that tell us so much about how they got there, you know, and what they put into what they do and how much they care about what they do. It's always an inspiring evening. I was at Madera Elementary School with Bob and Kareem, and we got to be at the assembly at the end of their school safety week with local hero and crossing guard Bob Bellinger and his wife, Julie. It was really touching to see how excited the students were to see him, and so many of them wanted to just, give him a high five and talk to him, and they were very happy to see him there. And it does bring to light how important the relationships that we make with our students and how important they are. I went to the Youth Town Hall where our Dr. Deborah Salgado was one of the speakers, along with Congresswoman Katie Hill, Mayor Keith Mashburn, and Deputy Chief Brill. And they discussed mental health awareness, school safety, and it was led by our youth council. These students were pretty masterful in moderating the 90-minute question and answer session. They had really great questions, and a lot of information was shared. I know that there were hundreds of questions that weren't answered, and I know that they were, the suggestion was to reach out to those people who you thought would answer them best, and I hope that those things did happen. I went to Valley View to look over restorative justice and was toured with Eddie Gregorian, Mrs. Erickson, and Mackenzie Midram. I'm going to screw that up. Okay. Grace most graciously demonstrated mock mediations and peer support. I happened to be there at exactly the right time to witness one that was going on, and then go through others through mock ones. So it's a very interesting process, and I can see how the students, the ones that are involved in it on either side, really get a lot out of it. And I know that Hillside is now looking at adding that to their repertoire, which I think is going to be fantastic. I even got to participate in their emergency preparedness drill, and it was very successful, and all the students were accounted for. And I got a little preview from choir, so that was a very nice way to end out those days. Looking forward to the upcoming Trek season, and doing some more tours through our schools. Go ahead, Bob. Who's next?
Okay, Scott?
Oh, all right. Thank you, President LaBelle. I just have a few items. I wanted to thank Humna Ahmad for tonight's presentation. I think she took off, but
she did.
She took off. They usually wait.
She has an ink contest.
It's a school night.
It's a school night. It
Mr.
works.
Downey can vouch.
It's a true story?
Yes.
All right. So this month I just had a few items. I visited Royal High School. I visited Mr. Lev's graphic design class, and he has a new sort of Harry Potter magic device, and that's literally what he called it, because he can stamp pictures onto metal items. It's just amazing. And he's starting this program, and I've never seen anything like that, to be able to see that type of equipment, that type of CTE money in our classrooms with our students. It was just a very fun item. So if you guys get over to Royal, I recommend you stop in. I've already given them an order of all my photographs that I want stamped, but they're way in the back, I guess, because there's quite a few others. This month I also attended Atherwood. I had a fantastic visit with Principal Leone. I think we visited almost every class. We were in almost every classroom. There's a few actually on vacation, or not on vacation, excuse me, but headed to a field trip. So that was a nice event. But I also got to see the voice amplifier devices that were just put in at that school, and I know that they have flexible seating coming soon, Mr. Yosef. So I'm excited for that campus. I also attended the Lou Roth Awards. Wanted to also echo congratulations to all the winners. I also wanted to wish congratulations to State Senator Wilk. This is important. It's important for a couple reasons, but he was nominated and placed on the state allocations board at the state level, and he was one of our only state representatives to support Measure X. And this is important because the state allocations board gets to choose how money is allocated throughout the state when bond matching funds come available. So I'm excited that he's going to be on that board. He knows all the needs of our district when he was a former assembly member, even though he's not our state senator anymore. So I just wanted to highlight that. I've already gotten his ear a couple times already because it's going to be a pretty important, I think, place for him over the next few years. A couple items. I had my monthly coffee. Wanted to thank new City Council member Luevanos, I think?
Luevanos.
Thank you. She came and she actually stayed for an hour or so, so we had a good conversation between city and school issues. And we also had a few other people that came and interacted with us. So it was a good night or good morning. Also attended a new nonprofit that I think you'll start to see on the horizon, hopefully in our community. It's called Fit for a Cause. It's out of Westlake Village, but it stretches up through Oxnard. And what they do is they deliver PE-like programs, exercise programs for low-income individuals and individuals with special needs. They work with schools. Obviously, they're working with the broader community. And it was just very powerful to see people funding and supporting individuals with special needs being able to participate fully in different exercise activities with great equipment. Just so look on the horizon. I think they're just slivering into Simi, but that should be coming soon. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then I also had the chance to attend a breakfast with Trustee Smolin, our SEA partner, so I wanted to highlight that as well. I think it was a week or so ago. But that's all I have. So thank you.
Kareem?
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Humna, who's off studying for that exam. That's important. Thank you to Sinaloa, the jazz band, Mr. Tordy, everybody was here. That's great. I was in band at the other school, Hillside, but it was very formative for me, so appreciate the focus there. After our last regular board meeting, we had a bit of a marathon, but I was able to catch the Evening of Excellence over at Royal, and I see some excellent educators from Royal here in the audience, wearing green, no doubt. After that, we went to the JK-TK night, which the wonderful Mrs. Julie Ellis was leading. And I hear the next night, the kindergarten turnout for the info night there was even more. So I'm an expert on when JK and TK cut off, so if you have any questions about that, let me know. My daughter's in TK, and we're looking forward to her being enrolled in the district.
Is she one of the 89 who have already registered for next year for JKTK?
She is, yeah, she is. So we're looking forward to seeing where she's going. So it's exciting. We're actually planning on checking out all the schools that she potentially could go for TK, just to get out there, experience it, get some knowledge, and meet everybody. I was able to go to the youth town hall at the Reagan Library with Trustee Smolin, and we had a lot of our schools represented. It was phenomenal to see the questions and how they guided the conversation with our local civic leaders. And I'm very hopeful for the future based on what I saw there, and was able to talk with some of the students and even get on the bus and embarrass my younger brother by giving him a high five. So. I used to call them jokes or dad jokes, and now I just call them jokes. So after that, able to go to Simi High with Trustee Smolin as well. We saw the regional occupational program in relation to auto maintenance, and they have the shop there, which looks high-tech, just as good as anything you'd see professionally. I was amazed that all those cars have been donated by the community. And then also got to meet Mr. Smith, who's a newer band director there, and he seems to be a phenomenal talent, and they're doing great things. After that, we went to Madera Elementary for their safety assembly. All throughout the process, I've been supportive of what they're doing. I took the pledge. I have a sticker on the back of my car. I live very near to that community. And I think what they put together is a model for what can be rolled out at all the schools in our district. And, the PTA did a great job. Mrs. Dennert did a great job. And it seems like it's just a start. So I think they're up to 200 pledges last time I checked, and it's a reminder for our community. I think that text message can wait. Please go 25 miles an hour when kids are present, and I think there's some great positive things happening there that increase the visibility, and we're appreciative to our partners with the city that are making tangible changes there. Also able to go to the Lou Roth Awards dinner. And I was honored to give the introduction speech for David Lopez, who's the custodian over at Garden Grove. Jumped at the chance to be able to honor David because he's one of our unsung heroes with the classified partners with certificated to, enhance the educational quality of what our students go when they go to school day in, day out. So he was a real glue guy, and it was nice to get to know him and give him a few minutes in the spotlight and honor what he does for our kids. I was able to, attend the Royal Simi basketball game, which was a real nail biter. Went down to the last play, about, I think, 4.5 seconds. Simi High pulled it out. I think that was a great win for their season. Also appreciative of Royal and how they were sportsmanlike and congratulated the other side. So that's a big deal in our community. And then after that, Catherine Elementary had a pancake breakfast, which is my alma mater. It was great to be in the cafetorium. As it will, it seemed a lot smaller than I remember it, but I had won a few geography bees there in my time, and that was a few years ago. But
Do you have any of the trophies still?
I do. I have one of the trophies at my desk at work right now because it's a globe, and it's something that I'm very proud of. And actually cover it up. It doesn't say geography bee. I hand it out to like the world's second best architect, and I give that to someone I work with, or some little some joke there.
And I think I made your pancakes.
Yeah, they were phenomenal. Great, yeah. And then most recently went to the parent information night at Wood Ranch Elementary. So trying to make, stop at all the campuses by the end of the year. If that's school year or calendar year, what remains to be seen. Trying to make time for that because that's important. I'd like to acknowledge National School Counseling Week, and we have a counselor or two that I recognize here for the phenomenal work that you guys do in our schools, and sometimes unsung heroes, and that's important. And we're hoping maybe we'll get a few more of those counselors out there sometime soon. Congrats to Royal High School on their wrestling CIF championship. That's huge. I think there's a bit of a dynasty building there. Good luck to the Simi High boys soccer and girls basketball who are competing this week. And also the Santa Susana High School STEAM night is coming up on, or maybe it's a day, Saturday, February 9th, which as an engineer, I'm excited to see what those kids got to show off their school and what we do at Santa Susana. And then Royal High School also has their IB International Baccalaureate night coming up on February 12th. So that's a great example of the programs that we offer in the district. So it's been a busy second month on the job, and I'm looking forward to getting to know more people and getting out there for month 3. So happy Tuesday.
Thank you. First of all, again, thank you to the Sinaloa Middle School students as well as their principal, Mr. Torty. And again, congratulations on the fatherhood. I was able to go to the JKTK information night. Julie Ellis did a great job with the staff. And I think they had 9 or 10 teachers that were there, took their time to come out just to be part of it and show what was happening. Some real exciting parents in the audience. And I think it's neat to watch them because they're excited and they're starting the journey, and I think it's a great journey. I was able to go to the Simi Royal Wrestling match, and at the same time, Royal won the match, the league, and also the CIF championship, so that's outstanding. I was able to go to the Simi Valley girls basketball game, the Simi Valley alumni baseball game, the bond workshop, which we were all there for that. Went to the vaping presentation put on by the PTSA at Royal High School. Tremendous information. Disappointing numbers of people who came, but it was a great job done by the PTSA. Royal High School basketball game, the Madeira safety presentation was outstanding, and we were there to watch and see what happened, and to watch the students relate to Bob, Mr. Bob, was outstanding. After that, I went to Monte Vista. I wanted to just look around 5 or 10 minutes. No such thing as a 5 or 10 minute visit to Monte Vista with Dr. P. And I saw everything, every room, every section. It's phenomenal. It really is. They have a full size. When I say full size, it's probably a 30 by 30 chess set out in the front, concrete in the front of their school. So it's amazing what's going on there. If you want to really go and get some interesting information and just see kids really excel, that's the place. And he'll definitely take the time to show you. I went to the Lou Roth dinner that evening. Just the other day, we went to our by district vote. The two of us were there. It was kind of interesting. They had 11 people to the show and approved the districting information that we've given out, and the presentation was made. And these 11 people are going to have to do it, and they said that the districts that are to follow there was Moorpark, Caneo, and they just kept going. There's about 8 or 9 districts that are going to follow the same thing. So they'll know what they're doing. On March 2nd, special day, the Special Olympics are going to be held at Royal High School, followed by Read Across America. I've got my books, I can practice. Outstanding job there. Also, congratulations to the National Counselor Week. The people might not understand how important counselors are in a high school and a middle school setting. Having been there myself, I know how crucial it is to have outstanding counselors, and we definitely have them in this district. So thank you. Moving on, the consent calendar. The public may comment on the consent items. This is consent. Do we have a motion to approve the calendar?
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Trustee Blau.
Aye.
Trustee Gibran.
Aye.
Clerk Smolin.
Aye.
President LaBelle.
Aye. We now move to the action calendar. Board administration, none. Personnel services, none. Educational services. Now, are we ready for our 3.1 adoption of the resolution acknowledging National School Counseling Week? And I would like to have Dawn read that, please.
Resolution 29-1718, National School Counselors Week. Whereas Simi Valley Unified School District counselors are employed to help students reach their full potential, and whereas Simi Valley Unified School District counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development. And whereas Simi Valley Unified School District counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children. And whereas Simi Valley Unified School District counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and to set realistic goals for themselves. And whereas Simi Valley Unified School District counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become more productive members of society. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Simi Valley Unified School District Comprehensive Development School Counseling Programs are considered an integral part of the education process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Therefore, I do hereby proclaim and acknowledge that February 4th through 8th, 2019 is National School Counseling Week. Adopted this day, the 5th day of February 2019, by the Governing Board of the Simi Valley Unified School District.
Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Trustee Blau.
Aye.
Trustee Gibran.
Aye.
Clerk Smolin.
Aye.
President LaBelle.
Aye. Again, counselors are outstanding.
And at this time, I think Dr. Youssef is going to introduce two of our counselors that are here with us this evening, or Dr. Salgado is going to do that. All right, thank you. Thank you for being here, both of you.
Good evening again. We've asked two of our counselors, one from Hillside Middle School, Sherry Toyen, and one from Santa Susana High School, Devin Thompson, to come and just speak a little bit about what they love about their jobs and a little bit about what they do. So Sherry and Devin.
Good evening, President LaBelle, Clerk Smolin, Trustee Gibran, Trustee Blau, Dr. Poplinski, and members of Cabinet. Thank you for inviting us here this evening to speak with all of you. We are honored to be here tonight to talk about the profession that we love of school counseling. From my early college years, I knew that I wanted to work with students. I knew that I wanted to work in the field of counseling. So after undergraduate, I explored different opportunities by shadowing people and by visiting different universities. And it was then, after shadowing, school counselors that I knew that that is in fact what I wanted to do. This is my 13th year in school counseling and my 8th year with Simi Valley Unified School District. And every day I love what I do, and I hope I bring that to my job when working with my staff, my students, and my parents. I also get the opportunity of teaching future counselors at Cal Lutheran as an adjunct professor. So I love that I get to bring the real life things to the classroom, because that's the good stuff, not the textbook. As a school counselor, my goal is to guide students in the areas of academic, personal, social, and career success. And in today's society, kids are given so many options. And with our school district's open access policy, I'm able to guide them towards where they want to be and how they are going to get there. And that's a gift. You know, they get to try things that they've never thought they could try. You know, we recommend, you know, different options for them and challenge them to definitely be the best version of themselves. With the implementation of Panorama and social emotional learning, we get to guide students in the areas of growth mindset, grit, resiliency, just like Sinaloa was talking about as well. And that's my passion. So I get to work collaboratively with my staff in implementing PD days, parents, students. How are we going to carry that out campus-wide? And, you know, make sure that all students are getting what they need on all aspects in order to attain that academic and overall success while they're here and then beyond. In middle school, there's never a dull moment. And as a middle school counselor, there's never a dull moment. You know, when I teach, all students are like, I want high school. I love middle school. I love the hormones. I like helping them navigate, you know, what they're going through, that transition to middle school. And it's losing friends when they come to middle school, gaining new friends, grief counseling, you know, again, that social emotional conflict resolution, challenging them academically, and then academic advisement. You know, we do this a lot. It looks a lot different at the high school, but in the middle school, we're working with students by advising them, again, challenging them with that open access district policy. You know, take that algebra class, take those honors classes. Let's take Spanish in 8th grade and geometry as well. And we do this also by using Naviance, Portfolio Day, one-on-one counseling, and then also by making sure that at the middle school level, students are aware of A through G requirements. So that way, when they go to high school, you know, they're going in with an understanding that that is what you are taking. That's where you are going to be. And again, we just want to remove those barriers so all students can be the best version of themselves. And I firmly believe that I have the best job ever.
And after, thank you so much for having us here tonight. And after they experience all of that stuff in middle school with Sherry, I get them in high school. So my name is Devin Thompson, and this is my 4th year as a counselor at Santa Susana High School. But to give you a little background into where I came from, after getting my master's degree in guidance and counseling with the PPS credential at Cal Lutheran, I started working as a kindergarten through 8th grade school counselor in a different district, as well as a college admissions counselor at Cal State Channel Islands. So I've sort of worked with all the different grade levels, but I can tell you that high school is my home. As a high school counselor, we wear many hats. So whether it's building the master schedule, presenting in classrooms, doing registration, implementing school-wide programs and working with Naviance, running and organizing a variety of different meetings, reviewing transcripts, doing grad checks, A through G, making sure we're up to date and we're giving our students the most up-to-date information. My main purpose and my main priority are my kids. And anyone who knows me knows that that's how I refer to my students, is as my kids. And I'm very protective of them, and I want what's best for them, but that can be very difficult. And it's definitely a journey. And when they're struggling and hurting, I feel it. And when they're happy and things are going well, I'm there to celebrate with them. But when I think about a typical day for a high school counselor, there really isn't one. And the reason for that is because I could come in to work with a plan of what it is that I need to do, what it is that I want to get done, and that could all change when a student walks through my door. And that's exactly how it should be, because again, they are my priority. So on one hand, it's never boring. No 2 days are the same. But on the other hand, it can be very trying. It's, as Sherry mentioned, it's kind of sad, all of the things that students have to deal with nowadays. And being a teenager is hard, and raising a teenager is hard. So I think that it's, as Sherry mentioned, as school counselors, whether it's middle school or high school or even elementary in a sense, we work under a framework, under an umbrella of 3 domains. We have the academic, the personal, social, and the college and career. And it's that personal, social aspect, that mental health component, that now comprises a majority of our interactions with students, because they're just dealing with so much. And with social media and all of those things out there, it just kind of complicates it even more. So I think, in my humble opinion, I think that's why school counselors are so important and so vital to have on a school campus, because most of the time we are that front line. When students come on campus, on the outside, they might look like everything's together, but when you dig a little deeper and you have a conversation with them, you know, some of them are really dealing with some hard things. And so being able to be that support system for that student, for that family, being able to provide them with those resources, and being that person that they can count on campus, I think is essential. And to be honest, there are some days where I feel like it is impossible. Like there is, I'm not reaching them. I'm not being effective, that there's not enough time in the day to get to all of them. And that's what weighs so heavy. And that's unfortunately the things that come home with me. But there are these moments, these moments when one of your student comes up to you and you can just see the pride on their face, and they're so excited because they passed their classes this semester. And although it was hard and it was a struggle, they did it. They didn't give up. Or you see, you know, one of your students that you've been working with for months, and because she's dealt with a tragedy, and you just see this strength inside of her that she's not going to give up, that she's going to keep going. Or, you know, a shy, isolated student who doesn't know where they fit in on campus, and then you go to a show on Friday night and you see them light up that stage. And it's those moments that, and many more, that replay in my mind as I watch each one of my kids cross that stage during graduation. And that's why I do what I do. And I'm so proud to be a school counselor, and I'm so proud of my kids. Sorry. And I'm so honored to be their counselor. And I'm just so thankful that you gave us the opportunity to be here tonight, to share some of those experiences with you, and to represent our entire family of counselors. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Okay, now let's go to, is there another motion we want to go through with, the approval of the low-performing students block grant?
Yes.
Doctor, okay. Honey, are you doing that, or?
We just need a motion.
We just need a motion,
Move
okay.
Second.
Motion, moved and seconded, roll call.
Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Clerk Smolin?
Aye.
President Lavelle?
Aye. Student support services, none. Business and facilities, we've pulled that one, we'll come back later. Now going to the information calendar, the board administration, none. Personnel services, none. Educational services, we have the first reading of recommendation of history and social science textbooks, adoption.
And we have a presentation, Dr. Youssef.
A presentation. Again, thank you, counselors, ladies, you are fantastic.
Thank you for having us. Have a nice evening.
As you all know, we have been in the pilot process this year for our history social science adoption, and we are at the point in this spring of 2019 to bring forward a recommendation to our school board members for an adoption. of curriculum in kindergarten through 8th grade and high school as well. In order for us to get started here, our facilitator and leader of the adoption process is our coordinator of curriculum and assessment, and that's Mrs. Jamie Snodgrass. She'll facilitate this presentation for all of you. And we have a number of teachers who piloted as well who will talk to us and introduce us to the curriculum being recommended for adoption.
As they're setting up, I would like to personally thank all the social studies teachers that did pilot, and I crashed their meeting a couple of weeks ago and heard some wonderful conversation about the selection of these textbooks and the thought behind and the work that went into this process was extensive. And I want to thank Mrs. Snodgrass for leading this group of teachers in our district through that process.
Well, that's some great music for us. Thanks, Dan.
It's the walk-up music.
Well, good evening, President LaBelle, Clerk of the Board Smolin, Trustees Jubran, Blau, Superintendent Dr. Poplinski, and the Cabinet. Thank you so much for having us this evening. I am Jamie Snodgrass, Coordinator for Curriculum and Assessment. I'm going to try to make my part really quick because I do have my esteemed colleagues with me tonight who are going to present our recommendations for history, social science adoption. I have April Hemphill, who is a kindergarten teacher at Wood Ranch Elementary, Jennifer Johnston, a 3rd grade teacher at Hollow Hills Elementary, Josephine Wozniak, a 6th grade teacher at Hillside Middle School, John Downey from Royal High School, Economics and Government, Rich Leadis, U.S. History, and are you doing World now? Just U.S. Sorry. Oh, just AP, okay. And Brian Dennert, who is also teaching AP World History and AP Geography. So just to get us started, I wanted to review our timeline for our adoption. The adoption process did begin back in August of 2017. We did a brief pilot with our AP government teachers just to start us off. We were in a little bit of a pickle that we needed additional AP textbooks because we had such an increase in our students within the AP government classes. So instead of purchasing some outdated texts, we decided to pilot a little early. And then that moved us into November, where the state did give us an approved list of adopted curriculum for kindergarten through 8th grade. That's where we based our adoption items from our K-8. With our high school, we had a little bit more freedom where we were able to reach out to our high school educators, and they determined the textbooks that we would put forward to look through for adoption. In January, we did select our adoption committee. So the process that takes place is we do send out an application to all of our history, social science educators and allow them to apply. Then I meet with our members of secondary education, elementary education, student support services, and educational services to determine who we would like on that adoption committee. That same process is followed for our pilot teachers, and then we move on to choosing our our piloted curriculum. So the adoption committee did join me at the Ventura County Office of Education for the Publishers Fair, where they were able to experience presentations from all of the publishers that were approved by the state, and then also for our high school. We then met a little bit later in the month to determine which textbooks we would put forward for piloting. The process that we went through was a rubric. So they analyzed all of the materials. They were able to go through, discuss, and then move forward with their choices. With our pilot committee, we then met and they were given presentations by the publishers so that they were well versed in the materials. Moving into the summer, they had their textbooks in hand, the teacher's editions, and a copy for their students, and so that they were able to work through that over the summer. The pilot committee did determine a unit of study from each textbook that they would use in the fall for 2018. And then we were able to get back together. I sent out Google Forms so that they could analyze the pilots throughout the school year. I did this in 3 separate stages, compiled all of that data, and then gave it back to our adoption committee. That brings us through the basically right up here into January of 2019, where again we met with the pilot committee. Everyone behind me was part of the pilot committee, and they went through and they worked together in their grade bands to really identify what was going to be to best meet the needs of our students. On January 15th, they developed a slide presentation that they would then present on January 24th to our adoption committee. So my colleagues behind us were there on both January 15th and January 24th to present the committee's recommendations. And that leads us to today, where we're here with the board presentation, and our adoption committee did put forth a recommendation for each of the grade bands for kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th through 8th, and then for high school at each of our different curricular levels. So the rest is in hopes that our recommendation will be approved by you. This is just a list. I know that you have it in front of you. No need for me to go through each of the names, but these are our representatives from the adoption committee. You can see that we have representation from elementary, middle, and high school. And then these are our pilot teachers for elementary, middle, and high school. And when we went through all of the applications, we do a really diligent job to ensure that we have equal representations from all of our schools, and that we are ensuring that not just our general education students are represented, but our ELs and our special education. So for our pilot titles, kindergarten through 5th grade, you'll see it's a little bit different. We did have 3 options: McGraw-Hill, TCI, which is the Teacher Curriculum Institute, and Studies Weekly. Studies Weekly was actually a supplemental curriculum that we've been using. It is a full-fledged curriculum, but we have been giving it to our elementary school sites over the last few years in order to help increase the rigor within the classroom for social studies. For 6 through 8, McGraw-Hill and TCI. And then you'll see a lot more up there for our high school. So the top portion is for our college prep courses, and then for the bottom part in pink, you'll see it's for the AP courses. The only thing that we are not going to be giving a recommendation this evening is for AP Economics. They are going to be piloting this spring, and the reason behind that is that all of our AP government teachers piloted in the fall of 2018 because it was a election year. So there wasn't anyone to pilot for last semester, but they will be doing it this semester. Right, so this goes into the more exciting part of the presentation, where you get to hear from our colleagues that are actually utilizing the curriculum within the classroom, and you get to hear their firsthand account of why this is the best suited option for our students. So I'll turn it over to Jennifer Johnson and April Hemphill. And then if you want, you can just click forward.
Okay. I'm April Hemphill. I teach kindergarten at Wood Ranch, and don't be jealous, I got a picture with Zero the Hero today for day 100. Thank you. It's very exciting. And
Jennifer Johnston at Hollow Hills Elementary School.
so we chose Studies Weekly out of the 3. And believe it or not, kindergarten through 5th, there was very little argument over it. We all liked this one the best, which was nice because what we need is quite different for such a large grade span. Whoops, wrong way. It covers all that you need for the FAIR Act. It covers the standards that we need. And so all these areas we were good with.
So the nice thing about this program is it is a consumable. It looks like a newspaper, which in this day and age, I don't know how many students actually come in contact with, so that's kind of novel. But everything that they have hard copy is available digitally as well. So, And one of the huge benefits of that is on the digital component, all of the articles within the text are, it will both track and read it aloud for the student. So whether it's just a student that wants kind of both of those inputs, for the students that struggle, it's a great option. And it's dynamic. It's not the same voice every time, but there's some kind of different character, and so that's nice. There's so many resources available in it. I mean, you can jump down the rabbit hole trying to say, oh, well, there's this, there's all these primary sources, there's these videos, and it's really a wealth of opportunity to present information that students might not know, oh, I should care about this, or this is why this is cool. So.
It's also very engaging. I love the online part. It's especially nice for kindergarten. They love the videos that you can link right into and connect with everyday life.
They love the games too. There's,
yeah.
Kind of they can answer questions and earn coins and do all kinds of other stuff, which they dig.
We don't assess in kindergarten very much, so I'll let you.
I can speak to that in third grade because we do. But there's the nice thing about it is there's the typical conversational, have these discussions and talk about these particular components. But there's, the online piece. There's, regular assessments where you see all of the standards that are addressed and all of that, and you can see how well they're doing. The online components you can tweak however you want and make it, really what you feel is appropriate for your group. So it's nice because there's a single sign-in as well, so they can log in. They don't have, that one more password kind of thing to remember, and so.
Yes, again, I love the technology side, and the games that you can do, the videos, the logging in is very easy, even for a kindergartner, which is quite nice. And there's all sorts of extra things you can do. It's not just the newspaper, which I tend to save. Don't let them hold it quite yet, and we look over it all, talk about it, and then they get to look at it and take it home and share it with their families. So we liked it.
The other nice thing is what makes this valuable on another level is it's easy to bring in and connect with and tie with whatever learning you're doing otherwise. If if your focus in language arts happens to be like, comparative and superlative adjectives, you can say, okay, now take a look at these articles that we've read and find the ones that you can. So you can really, kind of blend the idea instead of compartmentalizing and saying, oh, we're just going to do social studies now, but we can kind of make those connections and hopefully more meaningful learning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So now we have Josephine Wozniak, who will be presenting on TCI for 6th through 8th grade. Do I click that?
Hi, I'm Josephine Wozniak, and I am a 6th grade teacher at Hillside Middle School. I have my students for both language arts and history. So I was thrilled to be able to present to the adoption committee. In reflecting back on my experience with both McGraw-Hill and TCI, I really thoroughly enjoyed TCI, far more than I enjoyed piloting McGraw-Hill. In terms of the FAIR Act, this is specific. On the left, you have that's specific to U.S. history. I piloted 6th grade, which is ancient civilizations, but I can assure you that in the study of ancient civilizations, every civilization touches on role of family and gender roles and women in politics, etc. In terms of the California History Social Science Framework, TCI focuses on 7 themes of history, which are woven in throughout all the chapters. There's opportunities to analyze art and primary sources. It includes ancient Persia and South Asia. There's a real emphasis on student inquiry. It promotes active citizenship, and it's an inclusive curriculum. There's substantial support for English language learners. The online so we have a student textbook, and then there's a digital textbook, a digital component, and the digital textbook can translate into Spanish. There's a lot of strong hands-on activities. In fact, one thing I liked about TCI was typically in teaching a social studies lesson, I'd have to seek out the collaborative activities. What am I going to do? And these are built in. And so you don't really have to think about what you're going to do. It's there, and then if you don't like it, then you can look for other opportunities or tweak it how you want. There's differentiation within the reading. It connects to today. So every chapter has an essential question. You talk about what's going on in the world today. Okay, now let's look back into the past. So for example, in the ancient Egypt chapter, the chapter begins with thinking about people who have contributed to society in the United States that you know of, and now let's look back at contributions in ancient times. The readability of the unit of the chapters is very appropriate for sixth graders, because that's what I piloted. It was almost like narrative. And my students particularly enjoyed that. It has text-to-speech built in. It does come with an interactive student notebook, which can be, you can have a hard copy, or teachers can print out individual pages if they don't want to use the whole thing. Overall, it's a very different approach. What we found when we were piloting, when the pilot committee met, was that many of them were already using TCI activities because they had applied for an Ed Foundation grant or whatever. So many teachers were already kind of using the activities from TCI. It has built-in assessments. Teachers can formulate assessments from banks of questions that are made from TCI or other teachers who contribute questions. I found the online assessment to be very user-friendly. It has an embedded grade book, so you can keep your social studies grades in their online system. In terms of technology, there is an online interactive component. So if you're using the digital version, there are interactive games at the bottom of each section, which is highly engaging for students. There's videos, there's vocabulary cards, there's games. I was piloting specifically the Early Man Mesopotamia unit, and one of the very first lessons, and it was great because it was built in for me, was we were analyzing cave paintings. So the students were given pictures of different artifacts and cave drawings, and the curriculum came with a slide that was a video, and it was you projected it on the screen, and it was the inside of a cave with a light going around and cave sounds. So that was your background. And typically I would have to seek something like that out, and it came with it, which was really fun, and the kids loved that. So it's really interactive, and it brought history alive. That's what it's called, History Alive. I just got that. I just blew my own mind. It brought it alive for them and made it relevant for them. So that was fun. And thank you.
So I'm going to do the best that I can speaking to Pearson World History. Unfortunately, we didn't have a member of the pilot committee that was able to join us this evening. But in just speaking with them, I can tell you that their experience with Pearson was really well done, and I had a cluster of teachers that use this within EL and with their special education population. So that in itself really spoke to me that they were able to access the curriculum for a variety of students, not just in the general education classroom. I put up a little just asterisks up there with the FAIR Act because in reading the FAIR Act, it really does deal with emphasizing the integration within grades 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, 11, and 12. Not that it shouldn't be addressed in all areas, and as Josephine talked about, that it is addressed within 6th grade, but we really emphasize it in the grades that are listed up there. So in saying that, the FAIR Act is identified in one particular area within this textbook, and that's the impact of trade on human rights. So identifying how economics was affected by LGBTQ, or diversity and human rights. Of course, the California History Social Science Framework is addressed. With any of the textbooks that we piloted, we ensured that there was the correlation with the framework that goes along with it, but identified up here how specifically they transferred a lot of the curriculum within this text to meet the new framework. So universal access, in working with Pearson, they are a large textbook company, so they have a wealth of resources to ensure that they're providing new opportunities that are engaging, inquiry-based. That's really what the framework is intended to do, is move away from just that rote memorization, but really connect our students to the learning process, not just have them sit in class and regurgitate information, but really experience what they're going through and have that connection to the past, so that they can see how it's represented within their daily life as well. Very strong visual tools. There's a lot of resources that go along with it as far as the visual, the graphs, maps, and it's very easy and accessible for students. In regards to our assessments and technology, I touched on this a little bit, but assessments are easy to access. They do come with the exam view. They're for educators, they can manipulate them. They can use the test bank, or they can add in their own test questions. They are aligned and presented in a very clear format. The interactive technology with anything that we see that's coming our way is definitely accessible for our students and for our teachers, providing the maps, the models, videos, digital resources, primary sources for our students to engage, that truly does create a learning environment that is personal and meaningful. Right. So rich. Well, now the real show with these guys, because they always keep me laughing.
I'll try and keep it real boring then.
Dad jokes.
They're just jokes. They're just jokes. By the way, check out Madeira TK. Mrs. Hedrick is phenomenal. That's where my daughter's at. We had TCI and Cengage that we did. Oh, I have the remote. Like, Jamie, slide. Basically, the wonders of TCI were already described to you. One of the big factors that when we were working in our committee was the TCI Alive project. A lot of interactive tools online that you could use. The students seem to be really engaged with the TCI online model. The other teachers were really keen on it. In terms of when we were discussing things like the FAIR Act, it was nice to see Obergefell versus Hodges already in there. The landmark Supreme Court case obviously legalized gay marriage in the United States. We saw active citizenship being promoted in it with discussion questions in really, I guess you'd say, the right areas. Sometimes there's just discussion questions just to have them. It seemed like they were well focused on. Our big thing that we talked about when it came to TCI that we liked was kind of the organization of it. It was organized in small chunks, which we thought would help promote literacy inside and outside the classroom. A lot easier to assign small reading assignments to students, to have them come back the next day, to quiz on them, to discuss them, to, again, kind of go with a college model where we have them read before they come in class and we cover it. You know, not just direct instruction, read it, and then we'll kind of go in detail. It was funny because while we were discussing it, I had mentioned that while we were spending these times at these meetings, I had to obviously not be in class, and so we were using chunking models and creating presentations, and kind of talked about how our current textbook made it really difficult and a lot of work for me to do that. The TCI book, much easier. I wish I had had it to use for that particular lesson. It does provide assessments, interactive slideshows, text to audio, Spanish translations, really whatever you need. It's very comprehensive. Ooh, that's me.
No need to introduce. Let's see, yes. So John Downey with Econ, and then that one's going to.
Just want to make sure. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm just being coin checked from the dais. I have to make sure I have my coin. And so, Citizen Scholar Institute at Royal High School, challenge coins. Mr. Dinner, do you have yours on you? Do you have yours on you? He
Mr.
just
Downey,
lost.
Mr. Downey, I would like to point out that I spoke there and never received a coin.
You know what?
Got to speak.
My name is Brian Dennard, and I am from Royal High School. My name is John Downey. I'm from Royal High School. I teach economics, and that includes our on-level economics course and also the AP macroeconomics course. Right now, I'm going to speak about the textbook we're adopting, hopefully tonight, and that is this book published by Cengage. I will say that it is unanimously the choice of the people who piloted, which is wonderful. And so I can tell you a little bit about it. It really is not terribly different from the book we have been using in some ways. The study of economics hasn't changed dramatically. However, I am so happy that it is up to date, whereas our old book says the national debt is at 6.2 trillion and not really a big deal. The new book has that information updated. And so I'm happy that we finally got to this point where the text. This book is, of course, different. It's not the same as the book. The material is largely the same, but the way in which the book is laid out, it allows us to do inquiry-based learning better in economics than we've been able to do it in the past. And so every chapter in this book starts out with some really good food for thought, and then, of course, the material within the chapter allows students to better understand the inquiry that every chapter starts with. Also, this book is significantly more dynamic than the last, and dynamic in that, although the book is static, the materials, the electronic materials that come with it are going to provide us with frankly, a lot more than we even need for a one-semester course, and so that means our courses can be different from semester to semester with the richness of the electronic materials provided. And this says some nice things as well, and so does this. And you can read that for yourselves, I suppose. I will say one more thing. Of the two books that we used, I, as one pilot teacher, just asked my students to give me feedback as to which of the two books they preferred, because I do believe strongly that the best book is the one that the students are going to read. And so although this one I think serves our needs as teachers very well, overwhelmingly also our students preferred this textbook to the other. So that was one of the reasons I chose it.
So then we have Brian Dennard, who's actually going to speak on behalf of 3 of the AP textbooks that we are recommending this evening because they all fall under the same publisher. Okay, Rich, you missed you? Okay. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
To clarify that inside joke, Aaron Dobson, our activities director, recently made challenge coins for our speakers. So our recent speakers were able to get them. We'll invite back other speakers, so they will be included too in the near future. So we've chosen textbooks for our, we'll get one soon, maybe even now.
Thank you.
We've chosen textbooks for our students, and the textbook that we chose we looked through it. It might not be exactly like a traditional textbook, but it is. It's not a course, but it's a resource, and we really liked it. So working together, we like it. I'm going to go over a little bit about the FAIR Act and the inclusion there, but I'll speak first about the World History book. That's the one here. I passed it around, and I know it kind of looks dense, but it's so much shorter than our other textbooks have ever been. And I like it because our students actually read it. I've seen them at school reading it when they were not required. Like I walk around the corner like, you're reading the book. I haven't seen that before. It was really exciting. And the other reason I like it is I think when we talk about our equal opportunity schools, our EOS students, and we ask, well, when are you going to support us in that? Not just putting the kids in the class. You're going to do it tonight because we're getting a book that all of our students will read. It's not going to be the end of their understanding. It's not going to be everything they need to know, but it's going to be starting off like a base level knowledge for everybody because it's accessible. So I pass it around just so you can flip through it and see like it's very popular with our students. Rich is going to talk about the U.S. book, and then I'll talk about the FAIR Act.
Yeah, we noticed a giant change. This is my third year doing AP US History. We like to, again, do a college model where read the text and then we're going to discuss what you just read. And the previous 2 years, they just wouldn't read. 2 years ago, they wouldn't read, so the discussions kind of lagged. We then, Mr. Furlong and I began to give weekly reading quizzes, and they were just bombing them. And scores have soared this year when we started using AMSCO. It's a book that I picked up at one of the AP trainings I attended down in San Diego. The trainer just said, this is a book, it's fantastic. More and more schools are going towards it. He said the school he had been at in Arizona, where he had just retired from, was going to adopt it as their straight textbook. And it's been pretty life-changing for us this past year, having the students read and the discussion's so much better each day that we come in, and they've already read the material. We can get into so much better detail. We've seen the scores skyrocket. When we piloted the other text, the scores dip right back down to where they'd been. It was one of those, why take 30 pages when you can cover it in 10? You know, we asked the feedback of the students, and they just said, please beg them to pick this book. And I said, well, it doesn't really matter to you. You're already taking the class. They said, just for everybody else's sake. And Mr. Dennert's right. You see them reading it. My wife commented, I see them reading it in her AP class. She goes, they get a spare minute. They pull out their book, and they're checking it because they know they have a quiz coming up. And that's something we didn't see before. It has a really nice online option. You can actually have an app, which I've used on my phone to scroll through. You can highlight on it. It's really simple. It's not like a complicated login. It's here's the code for everyone. So you can put it on our class website. You can put it in Google Classroom. It's really accessible.
With the FAIR Act, the U.S. History book does a much more inclusive job, or goes further with it, but that's one of the targeted grades, so that makes sense. And it's not just thrown in one time, but it's thrown in Alfred Kinsey's studies. It's put into there with Bill Clinton, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, Barack Obama with same-sex marriage, the Supreme Court cases. It just keeps going back to it. So we've made a lot of progress with including the FAIR Act into there. So these books we feel are accessible to our students. They're likely to read them. Our staff will end up reading them more, and it doesn't tell them everything they're going to need to know, but it's a start. So with the alignment, what I realized is I read the course description often so I could focus my class and our activities on what they're supposed to learn. Because sometimes the textbook goes off on other things and they're good, but you have a course you're supposed to teach and you should focus on that course first. And what I realized is the language of these books is the language of the course description. So it lines up when they take a test at the end or their assessments, like even the wording of their questions lines up to it. So that's one of the things I really like. Another thing is the courses change. And when we accept books, to give you an idea, like the government book, sometimes the government book will never have Obama as president while he was a president. That makes sense because of our adoption schedule. But it's giving you real-life examples from the George W. Bush presidency, which would be fine for a history book, but for a government book, it gives you current examples. So that's how far apart our adoptions can be. But with these books, they publish new ones because they're consumables, they're going to wear out. That means if there's something big changing to the course, like the World History book, next year they change already. It's going to be another edition, and it's not just adding a couple more pages, but taking out things, putting new things in. So we're going to have more up-to-date books more often with our social science classes. For my world history book, unless the course changes, it doesn't matter as much, but for our government book, obviously that changes often.
Like I said, I've taught it for 3 years. The test has changed twice. So this updates every year. We're able to keep up to date with how the test changes because they're discussing further changes to the US test.
So we don't have as many of the features that I heard some of the earlier grades have, as far as accessibility, like it reads it to you. But it gives us what we need for our courses, including an online version, which I like. I'm not sure how many students use it now versus how many will use it in the future as they get more used to that. But I like that accessibility to it. This is the book you'd want to read. Now, if you're really into history, you might want a thicker book. But if you have many classes and extracurricular activities, you'd read this book and come to class prepared to do some work in class.
Also on the consumable factor, talked about, the slide mentions writing. It gives us new writing prompts each time, broken down by time period. So when we're writing database questions and we're analyzing documents, we're getting new ones each year, which is super useful versus, hey, let's make more photocopies of stuff we took off the College Board website and hand it back out. It's a lot better to have it right there. We go, turn to page 400. We're going to analyze this political cartoon today.
As that last line about a teacher's edition, that doesn't concern me. For an elementary school teacher where they must teach so many different subjects, I totally understand they need more curriculum so that they could go back and forth between all the subjects they need. But we teach 2 classes. we don't have the need for a teacher's edition that same way because we've taught the same courses and we're trained in that specific 1 or 2 courses.
It does provide an answer guide. There are questions after each section, multiple choice questions that are similar to what they'll see on the AP test, database questions, long essays, short essays, and they have an answer guide that they will only send out to teachers. And so we found that it was a lot less accessible to find the stuff on things like Quizlet than other textbooks were. And plus, next year it'll be a whole new set of questions and new set of documents and new set of database questions. So it really kind of keeps us one step ahead of the kids that are looking to take a shortcut.
I don't think we have anything more.
Did anyone want to see the US copy of it? Yeah. More than you can, yeah? May I approach the bench?
Yes, please. I was stuck on the Babylonian Empire, so.
If I may, for everyone in attendance and everyone watching at home, tonight is purely an information item. The board will not be voting tonight on whether or not to adopt any of these textbooks. The process is that in early March, the date has yet to be determined. There'll be a public hearing and a second reading. At that point, the board will make a determination as to whether or not to adopt the recommended curriculum. So again, tonight is purely informational. This allows everyone in the next few weeks to read and assess the recommended curriculum as well. So again, the board will not be making a decision tonight. That will come later.
Well, we thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you this evening. As you know, the textbooks are just a guide for the instruction. It truly is our educators in the classroom that are providing the experiences for our students and really meeting and reaching those learning goals. So thank you again, unless you have any questions for us.
I could just make a statement. Times have changed. Earlier in my career as an educator, you were just given the books. This is what you're teaching in U.S. history. This is what the book you're going to use. What a great presentation and what a great way of doing it, truly getting the instructors who are the key making those decisions. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, for piloting. I know it's not easy to do, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the time and effort pushing us forward on our curriculum. It's much appreciated.
I'm not at the podium saying it, but the district staff, including Jamie, made it really smooth and understandable, step by step, and brought people together to work on it in an efficient way.
A round of applause. I'm here all night.
And we have a first reading of the revised board policy and administrative regulation, school plan site councils. Nothing there, that's just a, okay. First reading of the recommendation of history social science textbook, which you just were presented.
I don't get to
well
review
done.
it at home.
Student support services, first reading, revised board policy on suicide prevention. The 4.2 is the first reading, revised board policy on discipline. 4.3 is first reading of the revised administrative regulation on home and hospital instruction. First reading on new administrative regulation on the use of seclusion and restraint. And then the business and facilities, second quarter Williams Ventura County Office of Education activity report. There's nothing new on this, Mr. Toto, on this.
This is the quarterly.
Okay, that's just our quarterly report. Okay, consideration, discussion, and proposed items for future meetings. And we either want to keep these or remove them. Number 1.1, identification of the best practices on math timeline. That's Trustee White. I think we want to leave that with him not being here. 1.2, protection of personal information, Trustee Blau and Trustee White.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, working with Phil on that. We connected today, in fact.
Okay, so that takes care of 1.3 then. 1.4, status of security cameras, Trustee Smolin.
I know from the bond workshop that those things are being worked on. And so I will look forward to those further updates.
Okay.
As they go live.
1.5, filtered water systems cost and installation, Trustee Smolin. in the process.
Yep, Ron just looks at me and smiles.
1.6 studio management, Trustee White. I think this is in the process also.
Actually, we should have an RFQ, the third RFQ, much more simplified, should be going out end of this week, beginning of next week.
Very good.
Okay. New or proposed items. Anyone have anything they'd like to put on for future meetings?
I don't hear any, President LaBelle.
None that you heard?
Are you asking?
Say, move on.
Announcements. March 19th, 2019, 5:30, the regular board meeting at the City Hall. And also, don't forget on the special education program at Olympics on Saturday the 2nd and early in the morning, and then our Read Across America later on in that day. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
And a second? All say aye.
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 Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks all.
I still have the world history book.